Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining the program today. I'm Rita, the American Spaces Director at the U.S. Embassy, Ghana. For those joining us for the first time, American Spaces provides access to current and reliable information about the United States through book collections, internet access, and activities for everyone. Much as the COVID-19 pandemic has brought in its wake much inconvenience, causing us to miss our face-to-face programming, it has also offered another dimension for the American Spaces to extend its programs to a varied audience virtually. Our American Corner, however, is offering some in-person services. You will agree with us that via our virtual programming, we are able to reach Accra and beyond with helpful knowledge. Where are you viewing us from today? Would like to know. Please type your location in the comment box. And also remember, your comments and questions during the program are also welcome in the comment box. Supporting me right behind the scene are two of my colleagues, Andrew and Archibald. We hope that you will be able to stay throughout the program. As the U.S. Embassy Ghana marks International Youth Day, which falls on August 12th every year, the American Spaces is delighted to show viewers a 2-minute documentary titled Youth Realizing the Sustainability Development Goals. Realizing the Sustainable Development Goals. So we are going to watch that video. It's just 2 minutes. Then we'll follow with a presentation on the topic, the youth factor in global peace building, by a resource person who is a youth himself and is in active work supporting many youth groups across the length and breadth of Ghana. He is Daniel Kwesi Acquah, the CEO of DOCXTECH. Daniel Kwesi Acquah is a tech entrepreneur focused on solutions through technology. As a youth leader and enthusiast with a passion to see the next generation nurtured to discover their innate potentials and talents, Dan has spent several years nurturing the youth and coaching them on their career goals and path. He has a BSc in agriculture and postgraduate in occupational health. That makes him the right person for the session this afternoon, since the topic for the International Youth Day for 2021 is Transforming Food Systems, Youth Innovation for Human and Planetary Health. So I think we have the right resource person who is going to present to us this afternoon. And he is also an environmentalist who desires to see nature restored and protected. He believes the youth must be ambassadors of the earth. Viewers, kindly join me in welcoming Mr. Daniel Kwesi Acquah to today's session. Please, Daniel, your presentation will be right after we viewed the 2 minutes video.
Thank you very much, Auntie Rita.
You're welcome. I hope Andrew will help us behind the scenes to screen the video to our viewers. Thank you, Andrew.
Young people are a huge part in progress and innovation in society. Is because
throughout history, the youth has always been the forefront of changing the landscape, merging cultures.
In order to create something that the world has never seen before.
We have to stress that youth get involved with all these policy making, make things more accommodating for them in the future, instead of copying the same thing that's been going on in history over and over again. Sustainable development goals for me is all about manifesting more inclusive, diverse people to come in and say what they think solutions to be for, such as quality education and climate change.
We just need everyone from a young age to even older ages to understand what it is and how it's going to impact the world to be a lot better than it is now.
To reduce inequalities it should be based on the merit of the person themselves, because you don't know what you're going to get from someone just because of how they look. You only find out once you find out.
We have come a long way. I feel as though at the same time we contradict ourselves, because if a female and a male have the same knowledge and at hand, they should get paid the same.
As the technology develops, we make sure that people don't get left behind. We all have equal opportunities, and we can all make a difference for the future.
Equal is just equal. In my mind, it's just those two dashes on top of each other. I don't think it should have such a complex definition. It's a universal definition. Equal is equal. 1 equals 1.
Thank you, Andrew. Equal is equal, 1 is 1. So on that note, I will hand over. We've seen it, youth sustaining, helping to sustain the development goals. And this is what they have also expounded to us just now in the video. And we know that you are going to add to what we've seen in the video, the opportunities that should be made available to the youth across board. You know, not selective opportunities, but it should cut across board for all the youth to enjoy the same privileges and benefits. So on that note, Daniel, thank you. Take over the platform and begin with your presentation.
All right, thank you very much, Rita. So I'll share the screen.
Yes, please.
All right, so good afternoon to everybody, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. It's an honor to be speaking on such an August day of International Youth Day. And it is very important we speak to the topic, the youth factor in global peace building. I have illustrated my topic or the theme for the day with an image. So to my left, there's an image which depicts the role of stakeholders in peace building. And so that's a puzzle, a maze. And you see the red puzzle being inserted to make the whole puzzle very complete, or the maze complete. The red factor that you see over there is the youth factor. I've realized that over the time, whenever there is consensus on peace building, mostly the youth are not considered. It takes government, opinion leaders, community leaders, religious leaders, and other people when peace is being consulted. Today, we are looking at how the youth can be factored in this agenda of global peace building. It's really an honor to be speaking to the issue. So the outline of my presentation, we'll look at the introduction. So we'll focus on the relevance of the day, that is International Youth Day. We'll also look at the concept of peace, the process of peace building, and the concept of youth, which is varied and sometimes uncertain. So we'll be addressing the youth concept. We'll also look at opportunities of the 21st century youth. We'll also address exploitation of the youth in conflict, and also look at the youth factor in global peace building, contributions of the youth, global youth, then we conclude. So by way of introduction, we'll look at the relevance of the day. The International Youth Day is an awareness day that's dated by the UN. So the purpose of the day is to draw attention to the given set of cultural and legal issues surrounding youth. It is worthy to note that the United Nations Assembly decided and established the International Youth Day in the year 1999, but the first celebration was observed on 12 August 2000, which makes the 12th of August this year 21 years into the celebration. 21 years of celebrating the youth and recognizing the role of the youth towards development. That makes the Sustainable Development Goal agenda very right. It has come at the right time where we also consider the youth in this role. The video depicted how we can give and present this agenda because it has been established and given to the youth, and it's supposed to be well addressed and implemented by the youth and handed over to the next generation. This is supposed to be achieved by the year 2030. And by the year 2030, so much is also expected by in the area of peace, that is peace building. It also today serves as an opportunity to raise awareness of the challenges and problems facing the world's youth. So in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw the youth partaking in various roles towards the fight against this pandemic. That is why Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, had this to say or share. That young people are on the front lines of the struggle to build a better future for all. The COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted the dire need for this kind of transformational change they seek. The young people must be full partners of this effort. So to my young fellows listening, this day is a special day where our effort is being recognized by our fathers and mothers and by our leaders in our communities and in government. So we have to take this opportunity and make a lot of strides. We look at the concept of peace. So peace has been defined by so many people, so many regimes, so many organizations, institutions. I'll say that peace has always been among humanity's highest values. For some, peace is supreme. So the popular view about peace is an absence of dissension, violence, or war. To others, peace is a state of harmony and tranquility, or concord. In other regimes, like a democratic dispensational regime, peace is seen as where there is law, where there is civil government, where all the arms of government works, where there's justice and goodness, where there's balance or equilibrium of power. Nobody abuses power, but power is dispersed to the advantage of all. So we look at some relevant quotes concerning peace. So Erasmus had this to say that the most disadvantageous peace is better than the most just war. So he begs to say that there's no war which can be justified. Even the worst of peace is better than the most just war. Martin Luther on marriage 1530 also said that peace is more important than all justice. It means you can't compromise on peace. Cicero also had this to say that I prefer the most unjust peace to the justest war that was ever waged. And there was never a good war, bad peace. That is by Benjamin Franklin in his letters, many letters. So still considering the peace building process, we ask the question, what is peace building? Peace building seeks to address three things. One, the underlying cause of conflicts. Two, helping people to resolve their differences peacefully. And three, to lay the foundation to prevent future violence. So it is estimated that violence will keep increasing. And from the year 2010 to date, violent conflict has increased dramatically. And the world urgently needs to respond differently because violence affects everyone. Wars prevent communities from developing. Children don't go to school when there's war. You don't go to your workplace when there's war. Your aspirations are cut short whenever there's war. Doctors or the healthcare services cease to operate, and poverty then sets in. And when poverty sets in, there's struggle for the scarce resources, and then conflict will keep recycling. And that is how the vicious cycle of conflict continues. So peace building is very important. So some justification for peace building. It is estimated that around a quarter of all the people live in countries affected by conflict and violence. And over 68 million people alive today have been forced to flee their homes. This is the highest it's been since the end of the Second World War. And also conflict drives 80% of humanitarian needs. It's also estimated by the year 2030, half of the world's poorest people will be living in conflict-affected places. And the Sustainable Development Goal, agenda of the United Nations, is also supposed to be achieved. It is estimated to be achieved by the year 2030, which means that peace, which serves as the foundation and as the major resource for the attainment of these SDGs, is very paramount. Therefore, peace building or the peace building process is very, very important in times like this. We look at the youth concept, or what do we mean by who a youth is? So the concept has been defined, as I said, or explained by different regimes, different authorities. But then basically there are two ways of defining who a youth is. And the two common approach are age-based definitions and definition based on the unique experiences of the person involved. So the UN General Assembly defines youth as individuals between the ages of 15 and 24. While the African Union, through its youth charter, defines the youth as those between the ages of 15 and 35. And since Ghana falls within the regime of the AU, Ghana has adopted this age brackets in our national youth policy. The second definition approach is based on the youth unique experiences, can be cultural, biological, can be psychological. That is the kind of responsibilities that come their way over a period of time. There's a chart, I've presented a chart, a matrix, which shows the trend of the growth of the various age group over the period of time. That is 1950 to an estimation of the year 2050. So the red line represents, the red range represents those who fall within the youth brackets. These are the active working force. These are the people who bring food to the table. These are the people who are mostly involved in conflict. These are the people whose interests are, always, at the peak of things. These are the people who are always desiring to have their way. So it is very important, as we can see, realize that the wide of those who fall within this age bracket keeps widening whilst we go on with time. So from 1950, it has grown all the way to the year 2020, and it will still grow up to the year 2050. So if this age bracket, these people within this bracket, they are not involved in anything concerning youth, the peace building process, that is going to culminate into so many things, because they are also going to struggle for the scarce resource. They are also going to struggle for opportunities. And this is going to result in chaos instead of the kind of peace that we all anticipate. So that is by way of the concept of peace. We realize that from the graph, the youth are a very influential demographic. Currently, they make about 18% of the world's population, which is about 1.2 billion people, are counted as youth. So according to the latest UN estimate of the world's population, 2019, youth numbered about 1.2 billion persons between, that is 15 and 24. So if you should consider the African charter definition of who a youth is, that will give us about 2 billion representing the youth. And it is estimated that these numbers will grow, as I said. This validates the assertion of Kennedy that this world demands the qualities of youth, not a time of life, but a state of mind, a temper of the will, a quality of imagination, a predominance of courage over timidity, of appetite for adventure, of the life of ease, which means that the youth matter, and that the opinions of the youth, especially in the area of peace building, is very important. So we look at the opportunities of the 21st century global youth. The 21st century global youth. So the essential qualities of the 21st century youth is propelled by the unique opportunities of technology. Technology has made the youth in Ghana no different from the youth in the United States or France or UK or South Africa, because we all use a common platform. Technology in our generation has changed so many things. It has brought to the fore a common interest, which is parallel among the youth in all jurisdictions, in not every country, in every continent. So because of technology like Facebook, Twitter, and the rest, the youth in Ghana get to see and get to know and get to attain a lot, just as the youth in the US or any other developed country. So through technology, communication has improved. Access to information has improved. Technology is used in education. Technology has benefited health, industry, entertainment, even e-commerce. Lifestyles have improved because of technology. And in recent times, we have artificial intelligence because of technology. So what makes the 21st century youth unique is the opportunity of technology. And that is what distinguishes. But unfortunately, the youth have been exploited in so many ways, especially in the way of conflict. The youth have been exploited and fomenting troubles and causing troubles in so many spheres of life, be it political, religious, be it ethnic, or extremism or terrorism. So we look at these 4 areas: the youth involvement in political violence, religious violence, extremism and terrorism, as well as ethnic violence. So in many parts of the world, political parties and other social movements use youth to intimidate rivals, destabilize opponents, and fill campaign grounds. This is often the only form of political participation open to the youth, particularly those with little education or few personal connections. So when it comes to politics, realize that whenever there's a misunderstanding, it is the youth that are pushed to get to the streets and cause disturbances and mayhem, whilst those who benefit from this political appointment sit and protect their families. So mostly the youth are exploited in political violence, religious violence, and youth participation. The youth are also mostly at the heart of violence in most African countries, especially by way of religious conflicts. And they are used to ignite violent clashes in various communities across Africa. Mostly youth are recruited. They are mostly enticed to join terrorist groups and extremist groups. And mostly their life cut short because of their involvement. Whatever the enticement are, the packages are, they don't get to realize those things. And that is how most of our youth are lured into extremism and terrorism. Then the last aspect I'll talk about is the youth involvement in ethnic conflict. Just like the political involvement conflict, which get the youth involved, mostly youth are also engaged in or used as tools for ethnic conflict. And this has become a major threat to international peace and security. So these are some of the ways our youth are exploited by way of conflict. So we look at the subject matter of the day, which is the youth factor in global peace building. The approach. I want us to focus on the approach and also the process. So first of all, we look at the approach. We have 3 approaches. That is the service-based approach. Then we have the partnership-based approach. Then the youth-led approach. So to emphasize on the service-based approach, we said that this leads to the development of activities for young people aimed at their protection and offer them services in the field of health, social security, employment, education, and training, culture, leisure, sports, and so on. And on this point, if I get to the process, you realize that the American government through the American Embassy Ghana and through the American spaces is doing a lot in this, towards this approach in this regard. I also look at the partnership-based approach, which leads to the development of activities in partnership with young people, where young people have a say in the development and implementation of these activities. So it may include a variety of thematically oriented activities, as well as policy issues and programs where young people have been offered the possibility to participate as equal partner. So equal partner emphasized, equal partner, not sitting on the sidelines. The youth must be seen as partners in this regard. Then youth-led approaches. So where development of activities by young people are established around issues and interests or those which concerns them. So young people should be made to lead certain, some of these approaches or programs, because sometimes the youth understands the language of a youth leader and will listen and succumb to the addicted. So sometimes it's important we adopt the youth-led approaches. So to the processes, as part of the definition of what peace building is, there are 3 aspects. It said to determine the causes of conflict. The second point is to lay the foundation to prevent future violence. So in order to lay the foundation to prevent future violence, the youth must be engaged. There's a saying that the youth is our future. So if you're talking about peace today, and you want to consolidate the peace, and you don't involve those who will be the leaders for tomorrow, then this is, you end up being a program in futility. So it's very important we engage the youth in this process. That is the process of peace building. So one of the ways we can engage our youth is integration of youth programs, humanitarian programs. So example, community service. The people find things to do whenever they are idle. So whenever they are enticed to join any extremist or terrorist group or to partake in conflict or violent activities, they do so because they are not engaged. But if this youth can be engaged through integration of youth programs, integrating them in programs that interest them, programs that will develop them, programs that will propel them to the next level of their life, that will be a wonderful process to stall conflict and violence and promote peace. So community service, mentoring programs, and neighborhood youth centers. These are some of the integration approach to developing the youth. And the next, which excites me most because of what is happening currently, is the creation of safe spaces. That is youth centers, safe spaces. So example is the American Corner in Acquah, where I'm privileged to be speaking from. So the American Corner has internet facility with free computer facility with free internet access, reading and workspace room where students and the youth can improve their knowledge by way of reading and also surf the internet and get a lot of information. These are all free of charge. So book collection are available for the public, for everyone to enjoy, connect and learn. And this is an example, a classical example of creation of space, safe spaces where the youth can use their time productively, where they can engage in useful activities towards, it is my wish and desire that this is replicated across the length and breadth of Ghana, various districts and regions, so that everybody, every youth in every nook and cranny of our nation, Ghana, and across the world will get this opportunity of also learning and getting to know what is happening around the globe. So creating of youth spaces is very useful when it comes to consolidating the peace building process. Another one is providing youth with skills to successfully transition to adulthood. Adults who never attain education or had the opportunity of schooling or education or attaining any skills become a threat to society because they mostly don't have any purpose or any orientation towards life. So it is very important we provide our youth with skills which will help them transition into adulthood. They will, whether by way of education or artisanship or training, I believe they can attain that. And as I said, what makes the 21st century youth unique is the opportunity of technology. And also at the American Corner, the American Embassy has partnered with Mobile Web Ghana, and they are doing a lot of work in this regard. Through mobile web technology, Mobile Web Ghana, they are training the youth by way of in the area of technology. Technology is going to drive the world, is driving the world, and is going to drive the world until maybe there's another breakthrough or new technology which is going to bound to then technology in all spheres of life, as I said earlier, is breaking barriers in education, in health services and delivery, is breaking barriers in communication, and is going to do that for a very long time. So it is very important we provide the youth with skills, especially in the way, by way of technology, just as Mobile Web Ghana is doing. And also to consolidate the peace building process, one of the essential processes is to make the youth have access to basic services such as education and healthcare. This is very important. This goes to support my earlier point. That it's very important that we make the youth, give them the opportunity to access basic services, especially education, because education is a very powerful tool. And also healthcare, which is very, very important, and will empower them and also put them in a state of harmony and tranquility. And that is how peace is established. So another process is also to focus on the pull factors. As I said earlier, the youth are pushed to foment or to cause troubles and violent activity, engage in violent activities by sometimes community leaders, religious leaders, and sometimes ideologies. So we have to focus, in order to consolidate on the peace building process, we need to focus on the pull factors. The push factors are the endemic corruption, the youth unemployment, elite impunity, vastly inadequate public services, and existence of ungoverned spaces. Yes, these ones exist, and sometimes they cause conflict, but then the pull factors are sometimes very dangerous and mostly very difficult to control, which are religion and ideology. It's very important we focus on the pull factors in order to consolidate the peace building process. And the last one is the youth-led and youth engaging intervention. So as I said earlier, as part of the approach, you need to engage the youth. You have to sometimes allow youth leaders to, list all the pacts and programs and packages. And that is how we can establish and consolidate the peace that we have attained. So youth-led and youth-engaged intervention aims at countering extremist narratives. So how youth are enticed into terrorist and extremist groups, we can change this narrative when we let them engage in more meaningful activities and programs. So that is how we promote tolerance and we build the peace that we are all yearning for. So some contribution of youth of the 21st century youth. So we, young men and women, continue to contribute differently towards global economy since the beginning of the 21st century. I have 3 pictures showing how some youth in different countries have been transformed as child soldiers into useful youth by way of giving them skills. So for instance, education and skills training are vital to prepare the next generation for the workforce and for adulthood, as I stated earlier. So in Côte d'Ivoire, for instance, with the help of the UNDP, these young people, that is former soldiers, are learning the skill sets they need to build industry and infrastructure for their nation. That is how the youth could be engaged. I believe that this can be a proactive agenda rather than a reactive, when we allow conflict to set in before this thing happens. So for those of us who are fortunate, for those countries which are fortunate to be having a peaceful atmosphere and tolerance, I believe we can continue to build this agenda by giving our youth the needed skills, as I said earlier, so that they'll be meaningfully engaged to propel the agenda of national development. And also in Rwanda and other countries, government services are going digital. Young developers created a mobile application which citizens use to assess and track progress on government services and development programs. And also young people in Papua New Guinea are embarking on, making our continent, making our globe green. That is one of the agenda on the Sustainable Development Goals. That is environmental improvement. So it's very important engage youth in similar regards as we have seen. So by way of conclusion, I'll say that the youth are in fact important assets for the economic, political, social life, and peaceful coexistence of their communities, country, and the globe at large. one giving of education and equitable share of opportunities. As we saw in the video that was shared, there will be a beacon of hope and peace. This will give them the ability and courage to question and assess and evaluate issues to arrive at the most peaceful and optimal solution. So on this note, I end my presentation. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Daniel, for this insightful information. It's awesome learning all these on International Youth Day. We see all you're talking about the incitements that the youth are prone to. And then more importantly, you did mention the opportunities that youth should have. We thank you for the compliments in complimenting the American corner. I see that you desire that American corner is replicated across the length and breadth of Ghana, but that is another issue for another time. But we thank you for seeing the space created at the American corner of Boba as an opportunity for the youth to do exploits. Thank you so much. Thank you. The presentation is wonderful, and I believe that we have learned a lot. I have taken notes of the statistics that you have given to us, and the fact that the youth that are growing in number across the world, not only in Africa, but across the world. Thank you so much. And whilst I was reading your bio, I was looking through your bio, and it occurred to me that you've been involved with youth programs, a lot of youth groups. How do you empower the youth in the course of your work? Can you highlight some of the things you do to empower the youth across Ghana?
Thank you very much, Aterita. So in order to empower the youth, what you need to give them is information, and that is transparent information. What causes confusion, which results in conflict, is when you don't furnish the kind people with the kind of information that they will need. And information is attained through education and empowerment. So as a youth leader, I make sure that there are fora or forums to empower my members or the youth by way of giving them information, access information that empowers them. Because when they get the needed information and education, they understand the objective or the vision of the group. They don't militate against the group, and they are also empowered, and they come on deck and support the growth and agenda of the group. So I believe empowerment by way of education and information, access to information, is one powerful tool. And that is, I believe, most conflict areas, mostly one of the reasons why conflict results is as a result of lack of information. People partake in violent activity without understanding what the whole thing is about. So I believe information, giving information and education members is one key way of empowering the youth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. And I believe that this is what your organization does, trying to give them access, create a platform of opportunities for them to explore. Thank you so much. We have a lot of questions. It's an interesting topic that we are having today as we mark the International Youth Day. I don't know whether you are aware of, because a listing or anything being done to mark or commemorate the International Youth Day in Ghana. You are on our platform today, and as we mark it, we are asking.
Honestly, I have not come across anything by way of maybe coming from the government or any other group apart from this opportunity that is through the American Embassy Ghana. But in reading an article last week, I came across that is a Christian group, a Christian denomination that focused on International Youth Day and the celebration, how they'll get their youth involved. And I was excited. I think so far that is the only information I've gotten or program I've gotten concerning this August day. So I'll maybe those listening, stakeholders and all those involved, I believe that maybe going forward, today, 12 August will be 21 years. So we can take opportunity of what has happened in the past and also take cognizance of this day and celebrate it as such. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this awesome answer. Wonderful, Daniel. Wonderful. We believe, I also believe, and that as people listen to this program and take note of the date, 12 August, I believe that they will be able to do more activities to mark the day, because we have, we can say that in our population, we have a greater number of youth. So I believe that as we educate, take advantage of this opportunity, noting the date and celebrating it as such, to highlight youth activities across the country. James Simon is asking, there are several questions for you. There's an interesting topic, like I told you, and the youth are excited. I see them, they are on Facebook and they are sending in questions. The African youth, the question is, African youth has been neglected for far too long. It is high time the government concentrate in building their capacity, because there's an adage that goes that the idle hand is the devil's workshop. I don't know what you think about his comments, if you want to say anything to that comment.
All right, so that's an interesting one, and that is very true. But I believe through technology, our voice is being heard. I believe we sometimes have to break certain cultures. Our cultures are very good. They are the reasons why we exist, and that is why we are Africans and Ghanaians. But then most of our cultures have to, give way for development to happen. The African, or let me say the Ghanaian culture, sometimes the youth are not given the opportunity to partake in sometimes family discourse and things that are supposed to benefit everybody. So the decision of sometimes what to eat, which school to attend, what to do, the kind of clubs and other things are determined by your parents, which are very good. But then with the 21st century youth, yeah, there are so many things we can achieve. There are so many, exploits in waiting to happen. So I believe that sometimes I would say that our cultures must give way for certain opportunities, certain things to happen, like youth development, youth engagement, taking the opinion of youth, and that builds their trust. If the youth are allowed to participate and engage meaningfully in family discourse, community discourse, and national discourse, I believe that we can make a lot of impact. And since we have we are the next leaders, I believe by the time we get there, we already know what we are doing, and we already know the development agenda ahead of us, and we'll gradually achieve it right from the day one. So I believe culture must give way. Culture, sometimes some of our cultures must give way for the youth, African youth, to develop. So that is by way of my answer.
Great answer, great answer. Another wonderful answer. Thank you. And from your answer, I think that you're trying to tell us that the youth should be allowed some amount or level of independence so that they can come out and unleash their potentials, right?
Exactly.
And
yes.
I think I agree with you on that. So thank you on that note. We are still on the questions. A lot of questions are coming in, and so many compliments are on the Facebook page for your great presentation as well. The next question to you, what do you think can be done to curb the surge in youth unemployment as it serves as a basis for the youth to engage in violent activities. You cited some activities, some things that the youth do. So the questioner is asking you this question, that the surge in youth unemployment as it serves as a basis for the youth, what can be done to curb it, to get them engaged?
Yes, so this is a very great question, and I believe that any answer or answer towards this question will make a lot of difference. I believe that, as I said earlier, technology in our time has brought a lot of opportunities, and it will continue to bring a lot of opportunity with time. Technology, by area of information, communication technology, ICT, IT information technology, has affected every sphere of life: education, health, agriculture, services, all forms of life. And so I believe that for our youth, there are so many opportunities in technology. I believe that our schools, our pupils, our children in school, and our friends in school are supposed to take and leverage technology, because if you want to engage in agriculture in our time and you want to go manual, that is going to be very unproductive. Whatever sphere of life, you need technology. So I believe that our youth must engage themselves in technology, because if you want to embark on any trade, commerce, now selling and buying is through technology, e-commerce. It gives you a lot of customers and opportunity, unlike selling in your corner. That wouldn't give you any opportunity. If you are rendering any service, you put yourself out there, and it gives you opportunity. So in as much as we attain education, we attain knowledge, we also have to build skills, especially in the area of ICT, IT. And that is how the skills that we have attained is going to be propelled into the various and millions and billions of people around the globe. Now, we say we are living in a global village where you don't live in your corner, but whatever you do, somebody gets to know, and whatever somebody gets to know, you also get to know. And that is the kind of society we find ourselves. So I would say it is technology today, technology tomorrow, and technology always. Whatever we do, we have to leverage technology. And that is how we are going to break the unemployment barriers, because there are so many opportunities through technology. And if you are busy with your skills, implementing, giving your service or product through technology, and also give mine, we exchange services and products, and that is how we all survive. And that becomes a very big economy, which will accommodate everybody, and everybody is successful and wealthy. So that is by way of my answer. I hope my friend.
I believe your friend would be satisfied with that answer. It's a wonderful answer, and you have said it right. You know, how to curb it is to engage the youth, and technology is one way of engaging the youth. It creates a lot of opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities there that the youth can tap into, and that way, once they are engaged doing something, they will not be idle, and they will be able to sustain themselves. They'll be able to sustain themselves. On the heel of that question and great answer, on the heel of that question, great question and great answer, there's another question that follows suit. The theme for this year's International Day is transforming food systems, youth innovation for human and planetary health. With the agricultural undertone of the Youth Day theme, do you think it is time for Africa to revisit her youth development policy so as to reflect current necessities?
Yes, that is also a very great question. And it is something that has been on my mind all this time. I'll take, for instance, National Youth Service, that is a National Service Scheme, the classic example of Ghana. Most of the times, you finish the university, tertiary institution, you find yourself in a place where you don't really engage. Sometimes people even struggle to get places to do their national service. I always ask the question, why don't we put this knowledgeable and exuberant youth in sectors that will bring rippling effect, as in positive effect, like agriculture? Because if all the knowledge and specialities acquired by freshmen from the university are used in this area by way of agriculture, I believe that the engineer will harness the water by way of constructing mini dams. The person who did HR can mobilize the various expertise on the field. I believe the business, the marketing people can look for markets, the kind of market, whether the community market, national market, or export market. I believe that knowledge can be brought to the fore and can be useful in this regard. And the technologists who did engineering can also use the solar system to harness power and drive technology. So I believe that there are so many opportunities if our government and leaders can look through this lens. There are so many opportunities out there which may not necessarily cost us a lot, but by just engaging and placing the right people at the right place. And that is how we make a lot of strides.
Policy a bit.
Yes, so which will influence the policy. And I believe that will, I know that the National Service Scheme has started some agricultural and projects, and they are doing very well in that. But I believe it can be extended to include a lot of people. I don't even mind if 60 or 70% of our youth are channeled by way of this. That is how I believe they can make a lot of impact. They can make not through agriculture, through food. And one of our problem in developing countries like Ghana is how we preserve our food, how we are able to store our food over a long period of time. That makes food very useful. But unfortunately, most of our food are perishable. So within a short period of time, we lose them. And so productivity comes to zero. But I believe that people who have attained knowledge, who have gained the needed skills from our higher institutions, can bring some of their projects to bear to solve national problems. So I believe if policy can be influenced, we can look at our policy concerning youth. I believe we can make a lot of difference. So that's on it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. And I believe that our viewers are happy and excited about these wonderful answers that you are providing us to this afternoon. You are pointing us to the right angles where we should be looking at opportunities. And I agree with you on the bumper harvest. If youth can also go into that aspect of agriculture where bumper harvest, these are harvested and stored properly. That brings us back to the issue of technology again. And if the youth can go into this, then we won't have only seasonal foods, but we will have food all through the year without any shortages whatsoever. Thank you for that wonderful answer. Thank you for that wonderful. Your questions keep coming in, so I would be posting them to you as they come. Another of a question from our Facebook viewer, one of our Facebook viewers is asking, how would you assess? I think you have so much experience. You have talked about the International Youth Day and how you know about it. And you told us it's about 21 years now. That is exactly the date, 21 years now. And this day has been marked every 12th of August to celebrate and highlight the youth activities. And the viewer is asking, how would you assess the impact of the celebration of International Youth Day since its inception 21 years ago? What is your assessment of the celebration?
Yes. Yeah, so with the privilege to speak to this, to the topic on this August Day,
Yes.
myself, I came to realize that there are so many things that have happened around the globe over the period of time.
Okay.
Unfortunately, some of us have not had the privilege of getting to know what is happening. And I believe a lot of youth have been engaged in other countries. And for our side, mostly these days are not really projected very well. So maybe in a Ghanaian space, I believe that we can project this August Day for the youth, and also embark on so many projects and programs which will bring a commonness or a common factor to youth development agenda, and especially also push the agenda of the Sustainable Development Goals, because mostly these things are only brought up when there is a discourse around it. If nothing happens, it is shelved. So the International Youth Day should be a prominent date on our national calendar so that it can be celebrated in schools and in other youth programs. So that is about how the day is seen.
Thank you. Thank you for the awesome answer. Great response. Patience Kwesi is asking, the youth nowadays think about quick money, but not hard work. So what is your advice to them on this issue?
Yeah, so in a funny way of responding to this, I always say that it is only in the dictionary where success comes before work. It is only in the dictionary before S comes before W. So you definitely meet success before you get to see work. But in reality, you need to work before you become successful. And that is the kind of life with this. This life is about process. And the process takes time. And whilst it takes time, you attain a lot of experiences, and experiences will guide you. Sometimes people who are very successful fail so many times before becoming successful. So your failure enriches the kind of experience that you have. The get quick rich syndrome in our society in recent times, not just in Ghana, but I would say across the globe, is very troublesome. And if care is not taken to curb this, it is not going to augur well for us at all. That is, so I to my youth, my friends and brothers and sisters, I believe that if we can give ourselves time to develop ourselves towards the kind of career we want to build, the kind of person we want to be within a period of time, we build and work towards that. I believe that it will place us at the right place, and then when the time comes, the kind of income or money that and opportunities that you are looking for will come your way. Because if you get rich without any experience, without any lessons, sometimes you lose your wealth and you come back to zero. So it's very important you build a very firm and solid foundation before wealth come your way. Because when wealth come your way without the needed preparation and experience, it will destroy your life instead of making you the kind of person you want to be. So that is an advice to my youth.
That's an insightful advice. Thank you. That is very good. That is very good. Thank you for the free consultation and free advice. That is very, very good. And we believe that the youth are listening. They are listening, and they will know that work comes before success. Work comes before success. Time is not on our side, but I still need to ask at least one or two of the questions that listeners have sent in. What do you think can be done to increase youth participation in the formulation and implementation of youth-centered policies?
Yes. So I would say that, for instance, in the Ghanaian space, the ministry in charge of youth and sports, we see more of sports, and especially soccer, football, but little, you see very little by way of youth engagement. I believe that schools, right from the primary school through to the senior secondary school and our universities, tertiary institution, the potentials and opinions of the youth can be harnessed and included in national youth policy. Because if someone who formulates a youth policy is not necessarily a youth, and the person's interest is not a youthful interest, that makes the policy very difficult to implement. So I believe that if the youth consensus are built along this line, that is community youth in the community, youth in our schools, and the schools are very, an ideal place because they mostly have a very strong leadership, youth leadership, student leadership, and they can really harness these ideas and opportunities. And sometimes when you are given a slot, a space, they can do so much. They can do so much, which will help national agenda. So I believe that youth involvement in our national policy can be initiated and propelled through the engagement of our youth in schools and communities and other clubs. And that is how we can achieve that. And it must be respected as such. It must be respected. When it gets to the right corridors of power, it must be respected and implemented as such.
Thank you. Thank you for that awesome answer. Your responses have been great and wonderful. I believe that all of us have learned a lot regarding youth across the globe, and we are so grateful to you. I don't know if you would want to wrap up and leave us an advice before we end the program. If there's anything you want to leave with us.
Yeah, so to reiterate what I said earlier, I would say that in the process of peace building, we shouldn't be reactive. Peace building should be reactive, it should be proactive. We should build it and make sure it is consolidated before any conflict happens, because sometimes if you want to build peace after violence or war has happened, a lot of things would have been destroyed, opportunities and time wasted. So I believe stakeholders and people involved in the youth development and peace building process must ensure that we all hands are on deck towards consolidating the peace that we have, and that the youth must be given a space and a room to also operate and help towards national and global development agenda. I want to thank the American Embassy and the American Spaces for the opportunity given me. I believe that many of such will come together. We will see our youth flourish and our globe becoming the kind of peaceful one that we all yearn to have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful having you this afternoon. And we are so grateful that you found time to be with us. Thank you for the collaboration with the public affairs session. Just as you are thanking us, we are also thanking you for the collaboration with the public affairs session in the American Spaces. Please accept our appreciation for your time and for the insightful information you shared with us this afternoon. The youth factor has been clearly presented. The significant role of the youth as promoters of peace cannot be underestimated in our country and across the globe. To our viewers, we say thank you. Your compliments, we were not able to read many of your compliments, but we say thank you all for acknowledging the good work of the resource person. We say thank you all for joining and staying through today's virtual presentation. But before ending today's program, viewers in Ghana, especially, we want to reiterate our online resource that we wish to share with you. You will find it very, very relevant to your course. It is the eLibrary USA. It is a state-of-the-art digital library with 9 electronic databases that include digital newspapers, magazines, journals, videos, and most of all dissertations, in addition to current affairs news around the globe. Usually, this resource is only available to use in person at our American spaces, but due to the global pandemic, we are giving the public remote access for all persons who are interested in accessing this database. Please sign up using the link that will be provided in the comment box. It is a link to a Google form that you complete. And once you complete the form, you will have access within 48 hours. You should have access to a login details to be able to access the database. It is a great database that you can find all resources. Every topic is there. So we ask you to kindly register and have access. It takes about less than 2 minutes for you to register. And that concludes our program today. Thank you all. We hope that you will be able to join us again on Friday, August 13th, for another insightful session, this time on a STEM-related subject. The topic is migrating your business to the cloud. For more information about our future programs, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at US Embassy Ghana. Stay safe, practice social distancing, and remember to keep wearing your mask in public. COVID is real. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you once again.